Remember, there are no rules in cooking. Taste this. Hi, welcome to Taste This TV. I'm Chef Joe Simonera. We're here to visit what they call Gastro pub food in New York City, here at the Pitch and Fork. Let's check it out. Taste this. So I'm here with Chef Stephen Putnam from the Pitch and Fork. Chef, you got some wondrous food looking out here, and especially I'm going to dive right into this burger in a minute. You want to take us through some of your creative cuisine here?
Sure. Well, first I guess we'll start with the Scotch egg. It's my interpretation of a classic that's usually wrapped in sausage.
Right.
I just made a play on it and used some salt cod because I know that's it's part of the culture in England and they use it a lot. I know beets are a big deal in that cuisine and pub cuisine, and so I kind of put the two together and encased it in a soft cooked egg that's cooked for about 4 minutes. It's a 4-minute egg.
Now, how does your influence of food and your cuisine shine through what you have here? I mean, you got an egg, you got a lot of stuff going on here, which I'm going to dig in. But I mean, because this is creative. You don't see this every day.
No, I just wanted something that was whimsical and fun and something that was different that, you wouldn't be able to get elsewhere.
You going to be eating some of this with me, or are you just going to
I would love to, sure.
All right, here you go. Now, take me through what you got with this burger here.
This burger is made from short rib meat, and I got an 80-20 blend of ground beef, and I put as much smoked bacon as I could possibly get in here, a little sunny side up egg.
Let's face it, you're getting messy with this thing, man, if you could even be lucky enough to wrap your mouth around it. But definitely a crowd pleaser.
Are going to be fine.
Definitely a crowd pleaser. And then what you have here, this is pretty interesting. This is the date. What is this?
This is Devils on Horseback, and then it's another traditional pub food.
I'm going in with my hand.
And this one is made with prunes, Stilton blue cheese, and a little prune puree that's actually roasted in the oven with.
Good combination.
Thank you.
The saltiness from the bacon, and then what kind of cheese was that again?
Stilton.
Stilton blue, yeah, really good combination.
Yeah, it's...
And the dates make it really... So what do? You just wrap this with bacon and bacon in the oven?
Yeah, bacon in the oven with a little bit of date puree. It's kind of like a jam, and it kind of gets basic.
Is that what that is over there? A little bit of that?
This is a little bit of port wine.
Nice, port wine reduction.
A little decoration.
Awesome. Next over here we have one of my favorite dishes, for sure.
Yeah.
And that's the braised lamb shank. Now, a lot of people can mess this up. When I had it the other day, it was perfect.
Good. I'm glad you're
Now, what's the secret?
The secret is to make sure that you get a good quality of meat. I've tried, I get all of my, the meats that are free range, antibiotic free, and I try to get farmers that I can trust and that I know. It's a really important, step. Yeah. The other one is the cooking process that people who braise meat often they think that if it's braised for 10, 12 hours that it's good for the meat, and it's not, you don't want to be over braise the meat. So I usually braise for the lamb shank about 2.5 hours.
Really?
Yeah, that's about it.
And it holds its shape, because that's what you want, right? You don't want it to look like a bloody mess when it comes to the table.
That's right. You don't want it to fall apart, and that's what comes with experience and technique. So.
Now, another favorite of mine was this. Mashed potato gratin.
It's kind of a mashed potato gratin baked in this little casserole dish, and with smoked Gouda, and then we have the broccoli rabe, which is roasted, and so it's just kind of it's fun because it's got a lot of technique on the plate that you wouldn't normally see. Yeah,
but it all goes together pretty well.
Yeah.
Now talk to us about how you managed to get these onion rings looking so perfect and crispy.
That is, all the secret is in the batter, and they stay crispy for a while, so you don't have to, it's the same actually batter as the fish and chips.
All right, let's walk over to that.
Sure.
Now another crowd pleaser is the famous fish and chips. And you get this actual whole portion, which I haven't seen anybody finish this yet. So now this comes to the table. You got some quartered potatoes.
They're thrice cooked potatoes. So we cook them 3 times, which is important. They're actually cooked in water to blanch them. Then they go into a 300-degree oven or a 300-degree fryer. and then they come out, they're blanched the second time, and then the third time they're actually the final cooking process.
Perfect. Excellent. So what's in store for the Pitch and Fork?
What's in store for the Pitch and
Change your
Fork?
menu seasonally?
Yeah, we've got I've got some exciting things coming up right now. You know, we're headed into spring. I think that I'll be able to get out there and visit a lot more the farmers locally. We've got, you know, Union Square that should be hitting a stage here pretty soon.
That's right. That's right.
And pretty excited about that. I can start doing some shopping there and start networking with a lot of the farmers and, you know, and purveyors of our meats and fish that we see.
Which is
here.
important.
Yeah, absolutely.
And where can we find this cuisine? Where are you located? Right here on First Avenue?
We're at First Avenue here in New York City. At 83rd Street, we have this restaurant and a couple others that I'm also overseeing, Jack's Brasserie and Jack's 1534 down in Soho.
Well, this food was definitely fantastic. Thanks for having me here.
My pleasure.
Come and check them out on First Avenue, The Pitch and Fork. We're not finished yet. Headed back over to the test kitchen to whip up some more great recipes. So don't go anywhere. Taste this. All right, so now we're going to get started on grilled cheese. Now, talking about grilled cheese, probably the most important thing is the bread. Yeah, the cheese is important, but the bread is really important. So now we talk about what breads work really good with any kind of grilled cheese, right? Take, for instance, this is a sourdough bread. It's made from sourdough cultures because you have your yeast, breads that are made with yeast that rise, and then you have the sourdough, which is a culture, and helps the bread rise, again, non-yeast bearing. So there's a lot of chemistry behind it. You have to do your sourdough starters, you know, beforehand, just like the yeast, to give it time to grow. The good news about it is you just keep feeding it and feeding it. And you can have those cultures for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. The wet yeast won't last that long, so it has an expiration date. But the sourdough cultures can last quite a bit. Now, we have our bread here that we've cooked using the sourdough. This is a South Africa culture. I don't necessarily know that you can taste the different flavors of the sourdough in there, whether or not it's from San Francisco or from South Africa. You know, maybe you can, but I really think it's the way that you prepare the bread and the ingredients that you add into it. But from this company, they have cultures going back from thousands and thousands of years. Anyway, so you could use this type of bread, or you could go to your bakery and you could buy what's called a brioche toast, which is a hollow bread. It's about yay thick. It's usually got the braids in it. You could cut that to a nice shape. What I'm trying to say is breads that are nice and soft and mushy in the inside are going to yield the best crunch on the outside. And it's exactly what we're going to be working with today. So we got a couple of pans. What we're going to do first, when we're talking about our grilled cheese, is when I make my grilled cheese, I always need some sort of meat substance, some salty meatness to it. And I usually lean towards bacon or some kind of a ham. This is a ham with the bone in still. It's been sliced down, as you can see. And we're going to use this as a starting point. I'm a big fan of ham. And then bacon. You know, this is apple smoked bacon right here. It's a single cut, which means it's not double cut, which would be a lot thicker. And it's got an apple smoky wood flavor, which is really going to go good with this Gruyere that we got in front of us. So with that being said, let's take some bacon. You probably noticed I put this bacon in a nonstick pan and I didn't add any oil. That's really the way to do it. I also found out that when making grilled cheeses or any type of sandwiches, and you have your bacon, rather than take your bacon whole, put it down, and it kind of gets all wavy on you, if you cut it in half, you'll be able to hold the shape a lot better. Next, we're going to take our ham. And you don't need that much for this, just enough to kind of wet the beak, so to speak. We're just going to let this cook and render down. What I'd like to do is use some of its grease to actually cook with that as well, cook the bread. All right, we've got a sanitary rag here, which is a little half bleach solution. Now we're going to take our cheese, cut the rind down. Now this is a Gruyere, 12-month-old. It's a reserve. I love Gruyere. What comes to mind when you think of Gruyere? You think of fondue, really good cooked down fondue, dipping bread in there, fruits, pears, apples, but it's a really great cheese for making grilled cheese as well. And you want your cheese about that thick when making grilled cheese. So we're going to cut our Gruyere like this. Okay, maybe one more slice. Now, something that I'm going to add to this dish, the first dish that we're going to be doing for grilled cheese, is not only the crazy meat flavor that we're going to have in here, but some truffle and some truffle butter. So what we're going to do is take a slice of bread. While that's kind of going down, we're going to take our knife. Now we have some black truffle butter. And what we have to do is kind of work the butter. Get it nice and soft, spreadable. Because sometimes when you take black truffle butter, it could be a bit stiff. All right, so we work the butter. That's why I like, you ever see people when they grab a stick of butter, like quarter pound of butter or whatnot, they like take it off the bread and they smear it on the bread and they're breaking the bread and they're making just a mess. All you have to do is just take the butter and work it a little bit. And it becomes it smears just as good as the artificial butter that you shouldn't be having. Okay, now we're going to take it. See how that smears on it nice? And you don't need a lot because you don't want it to overpower. You do have a lot of things going on here with the dish. I just want to make sure we have it all going on. And we're going to take our cheese. Go down first. And then we're going to take our other bread. This sourdough smell is really going to go perfect with this Gruyere and salt combination. And we get the salt from all these kinds of meats that we have here. Let's turn them around, see what they look like. Oh, look at that. And we're going to take this bacon over. Really looking good. And we're looking for those flavors, those fats, to seep down into the pan so that we can take some of them and go right into this pan. This is the kind of flavor that we're looking for. Now, in this particular dish, we're going to leave the ham cooking down, but we're going to take the bacon. And I like to put the bacon down just before it starts to crisp up, because that's what happens when you cook bacon. Just after it sits out for just a little while, it starts to crisp up. I still like it soft, cooked but soft. Because what I'm going to do is take this bread and kind of push down on it. Just going to give it a gentle push. Got a little bit of olive oil. So it's a combination of bacon fat, olive oil, and truffle butter going into this pan. And that's going to be our steady recipe for cooking all of these grilled cheese items. All right. Now, we'll put the first one down in there. Keep in mind that grilled cheese, that when it's cooked this way, is going to take up a lot of fat. The bread's going to soak up a lot of liquid. This is the best, most flavorful way to get that crispy type of grilled cheese that you're looking for. Let's just lift this up a second, because you have to be really careful. We still got some time. I'm not cooking this. You don't want a high heat either, because what will happen is the bread will cook. It'll get overburned. The cheese will never melt, and then you don't really have that grilled cheese you're looking for. So just kind of let it sit there, let it get heat. The heat will go through the pores of the bread and melt the cheese, and that's exactly what you want. So in that time, we're going to assemble our other grilled cheese right now. Next one is going to be brie. Now, brie is really good. And a lot of times why people don't do it is because it's a pain in the neck. You know, people just don't want to go through it because you got to take this chalk rind off first. That's exactly what we're going to do. Now, this is a regular brie. I would love to do triple creme brie or triple brie, which is actually much more creamier. This is a regular brie you'd see in most supermarkets where you can touch it. It's kind of firm, which is good for melting. The other one is probably too soft and it'll roll over the edge. What you want to do is take a good chunk of the brie. Nobody says this wasn't going to be messy. Okay. And take this part off, because this is not going to go good with a grilled cheese sandwich. Now, brie and black truffles, perfect combination. So you guessed it. That's exactly what's going on there. Now, you don't got to go too crazy with your hands all over the place, but because this is going to melt nicely. But what you're going to do is just make sure that all your bread is covered. I'm going to even, because I got a lot of brie here. You want it mostly covered. Again, it'll start to even itself out. Brie, I fell on this combination just because it's the only thing I had in the house one time, and I was in the mood for grilled cheese, and I started making it with brie. It's just incredible, incredible combination. All right, good. A bit messy, like I said, but hey. Okay. Well, if it's not messy, it's not right. Okay, let's jump back over here. All right, we're good. Let me flip this over, show you what we got. You hear that? That's crispiness. And as you can see, the brie is, the Gruyere cheese is actually melting to the meat. This is all a process, and I'm trying to go slow. Okay, so we're going to take that on that side. Now we got our brie. We're going to take our truffles, our black truffles, and we're going to put them, this is what you would call a very expensive grilled cheese. But hey, treat yourself, right? Actually, these black truffles aren't as expensive as you might think they are. Just be sure that when you open them up out of the can, you season them with a little bit of white truffles. That'll give them the flavor that it deserves, and no extra salt. It'll make the truffle tough. Okay. So, now with that, we're going to put a little bit of ham. You already see this combination. Look at that ham. Nice. And what we're going to do with the ham is we're going to cut it in strips, because the last thing we want is for a piece of ham, after we cut down on the bread, to dismantle the whole sandwich. We don't want that. So we're going to take bits and pieces and put them on top, almost like lardons, like crispy pork lardons. Now, if you don't want the pork, you could totally leave it out. This could be a fun vegetarian grilled cheese. And I'm going to take another piece of our sourdough bread. Let's push this down. The good thing about the brie that we're working with, it because it's so sticky, right away it sort of just holds everything together. So we're going to put that down there. See how that bread crisps up? We're going to put a little bit of olive oil in there. And we're going to have like a nice platter going on here soon. All right, we're going to let that cook up. This one is doing really good. When you pick up the bread and things are kind of melted to it, you know you're at a good place. Now they sell these gadgets where you could take the two pieces of bread, put it in like a panini press and stuff like that, and that's all good and fine, but you will never get the quality and the taste of this, because what those things do is press down so that you have no airiness, no crisp in there. It's just like that thin little crisp, and all your bread's kind of been compact. It's not how I would do it. Now the next one is a combination of Swiss cheese and goat cheese. And what we do on this one is we take our goat cheese, spread it out like so. Now this is actually a flavored goat cheese. It's flavored with lavender. You could use a plain goat cheese if you want. I just felt that lavender really goes good with this. And we're going to take our slices of our Swiss. And you're going to put this down like so. We're going to get cleaned up, come back. When we get ready, we're going to slice through this grilled cheese to perfection. So don't go anywhere. All right. Turn over one of our perfect, looking good. You can see that brie is melted really nicely. We got our platter that we're going to be putting everything in. And for those of you who are wondering what I'm going to do with all this oil that was in the pan from the rendered fat, bacon, the grease, and all that jazz, what we're going to do is actually take some potatoes and make chips. Make sure that this is on high.
Just put your thinly sliced potato. You could do it however you want. You could use a mandolin. If you have a meat slicer, that's fine. If you have a real steady arm, that's fine too. You don't need many. And the reason why I like to get them so thin is because they almost stick together when you put them in a pan. I'm going to show you what we do in a minute, but you got to work quickly. Another one there. That's good. We're going to take a little bit of salt, a good amount of salt. Okay, we're going to take our knife. Wow, very nice. We're going to cut this in fours. All right, now this is the very first one we did. All right, now we're going to get to this. See how this one's doing. This is perfect. Good. Get a little bit of oil. Don't be scared to put a little oil on top, too. All right, now this is the one that we had, which was the goat cheese. Look at that. That's nice. I like that one a lot. I'm going to cut this one up a little different. Look at that. Combination of goat cheese and the Swiss. I'll leave that like right there. That's really nice. Now we got our potato here. Remember I told you? Holds itself together. That's exactly what we're looking for. When we're done, we're going to put it on here. It'll be nice and crispy. Now let's grab our brie. This is our brie one. This is going to be my favorite. The brie and the black truffles. Oh, man, look at that. How are you going to get any better than that? Brie, black truffles. Wow. And ham lardons. We're going to put that right on the end here like this. See, goat cheese is really good on a grilled cheese sandwich, as you can see here. It holds itself good as long as you don't go overboard by cooking it. I think a lot of mistakes with making grilled cheese is sort of how to heat it, why to heat it, and how to keep it hot. You don't want a soggy grilled cheese on your hands. This is almost ready. Let's just package this the other side. And I think I salted one side but not the other. So let's do that. Wow. Going good. And we're going to take this, maybe just a second more. I'm really looking for it to be crispy. There you go. That's what I'm talking about. Now it's looking crispy. We're going to take, let's dry this up because we got a lot of excess fat we don't want. You see what I was talking about? It holds itself up to one kind of thing. It's like, now you can leave it standing up, nice garnish, or you can just kind of cut it in half, corner it. It just adds for like another nice crunchiness to the dish. All right, so here you have it. Incredible potato. We got some grilled cheese going on. It's time for a party. Well, thank you for watching this fun-filled episode of Taste This TV. I'm your host, Chef Joe Simonero. Remember, there are no rules in cooking. Taste this.